Yesterday, my dad made us watch a family movie called The Pursuit of Happiness, and it's already the second time we've watched this movie. And in it, the main character, like Chris Gardner, his wife left him, and he had to somehow take care of his son alone, but he didn't really like have a job, and it was just about him. And in the end, he managed to get a stable like job in like finance and like make his success. And this like story teaches us that life can be unpredictable and there may be like unforeseeable hardships in life, but like Mr. Gardner, he was able to bounce back from every single time that he had hardships or a setback, and he managed to come back stronger than he was before. So today let's talk about how to become anti-fragile. So firstly, what is antifragility? So everyone experiences painful emotions. For example, if someone's loved one leaves them, if like their significant other like divorces them, or if like someone was trying to start a business but something happened and now they were in like financial trouble, that would also cause lots of painful emotions. So many people have the false understanding that having a happy life means to be happy all the time, but that's not really possible. And it's like, yeah, happiness, like it doesn't always stay forever. So for example, if you look at a flower, like in the spring or summer it might like bloom or something, but then in winter it might like die, which shows that that it doesn't stay forever and you have to experience painful emotions sometimes. And even in our life cycle, like we start out like young and then we age and we get older and older. So being like having a happy life means to like learn and accept and just like embrace the painful emotions as well. So like what actually is anti-fragility? So it's an important concept, so which is kind of like called resilience 2.0. So resilience 1.0 is like when you have pressure on a system and after the pressure is removed, the system comes back to its original shape. So it's like if you have an elastic band and then you have a ball, and if you put like pressure on the elastic band, like by dropping the ball onto it, the elastic band will like sink down for a while, but after you remove the ball, the elastic band will bounce back to its original shape, which is already very good. But anti-fragility takes this one step further. So resilience 2.0 is about putting pressure on a system, so you still put the ball on the same elastic band, but after you remove the ball, the elastic band doesn't just go back to its original form, but it actually grows bigger and stronger than it was before. So this can be seen anywhere. So for example, our muscular system, if you go to the gym and you like lift weights, you're putting pressure on your muscles and they end up getting like stronger and bigger. And we are like an anti-fragile system. So from a psychological level, it can be called like PTG, which is post-traumatic growth. So where PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, is about like breaking down when there's like a traumatic scenario happened, PTG is when you manage to grow stronger as a result to the stress. So to achieve like anti-fragility, we need to question like what conditions we can put in place to increase the likelihood of growth from like hardship. So secondly is the paradox of happiness. So happiness is a good thing and like everyone knows that it's good. But somehow the people who tend to say happiness is important to me and I want to pursue it end up being less happy and more likely to be like going to depression. And this is because valuing happiness as a good thing is problematic. So like we could like pursue happiness indirectly. So for example, you can think of happiness as sunlight. And if you directly look into the sunlight, it's going to hurt your eyes, and like it can damage your vision. But by breaking it down into its elements, for example, by putting like a glass prism, and then you can see all of the different colors of the rainbow, and it allows it to like break down. And this way, when you're looking at the colors of the rainbow, you're indirectly looking at the sunlight and you can actually enjoy all of the colors that come from it instead of looking at it directly and it's actually like damaging your eyes. And this is like, if you look, so similarly, if you look at happiness like directly, it ends up like causing more harm than good, because it ends up being like too much of like a tunnel vision straight into what you think will make you happy, and you might neglect lots of things on the way there. So yeah, by breaking it down into its elements, you can enjoy the indirect pursuit of happiness, which can raise your overall levels of happiness. And it's like, so if you do the right thing and in a proper way, then good things will come. Just like if you provide value to people, you'll get the rewards in return. And thirdly is the SPIRE model. So it's this is basically something that can help trigger the anti-fragile system. So it's actually an acronym. So the S stands for spiritual, the P stands for physical, the I stands for intellectual, R stands for relational, and E stands for emotional well-being. And firstly, so spiritual, it's basically about finding your meaning or purpose in life, because if you wake up with a purpose, you're more likely to overcome barriers or step out of your comfort zone. For example, if someone wants to become like an astronaut or study like astronomy at university, they will know that they have to have good results in like physics or maths. So then they actually have something like a passion that will let them like get up every morning and to actually do the work required, because they have a purpose of what they want to achieve and a goal in mind. And it's like also like whereas like if other people don't have that passion, they'll find it harder to like get up from bed in the morning, because especially like, you know, in winter when it's cold, then like in your bed is like comfortable. So it's like if you have a passion and a goal in mind, you're more likely to step out of that comfort zone and try new things. And secondly is physical. So like a big problem is like stress. And for example, like studies have shown that in the US, over half of the people who have like jobs, they don't end up using the full time of their like holidays. And even so, they're still thinking about work and things like that during their holiday times, which leads to the problem of a lack of recovery, because they don't separate their like personal and work lives, and they're unable to like leave that stress behind them and just like enjoy life. Thirdly is intellectual. So people who are like more curious and who ask more questions actually are happier, and they even end up living longer. And it's not just about asking, like being able to ask questions, it's also about deeply engaging with material. So for example, a book, if you're really like interested in it and deeply engaging with the material, would mean that you like deeply understand all of the characters and the context and like the purpose of their actions, or like why the author decided to write that book and what was like the story of their life which led to them writing that book. Or it can even be like a piece of art, or like, yeah, a picture, and you understand why the artist drew it, or what the picture is trying to depict, and why the artist drew something a certain way or used like certain mediums to draw it. And yeah, this can really like challenge your mind and enable you to think more deeply and like critically. And fourthly is relational. So it's basically the number one predictor of happiness is like quality time with people that you care about. And it's like the first condition, and like, yeah, that you can put into place, which can increase the likelihood of like antifragility, of growing through hardships. And yeah, it's really important to have a good and strong like quality of relationship. So for example, like just like last Sunday, my family, we had a barbecue, and we were all just like sitting in the garden and like eating like the barbecue like meat and fruits. And it basically, we were just talking about just random things, and it really let me appreciate the beauty of life and the importance of family as a whole and really like strengthened our relationship. And lastly is emotional. So like now we know that it's really important to embrace painful emotions. How do we cultivate pleasurable ones? So it's by gratitude, and people have said that it's like the mother of all virtues. And if we appreciate the good in life, then we will have more of it. So for example, like maybe you're just outside, and if you just like appreciate like the nature, or like a flower or the trees, or even just like a single leaf, then you really like be able to be grateful for all of that and appreciate like the beauty of life and nature in general. And yeah, it'll also help you notice more of it around you. And also like my mom cooks for us like every day. So after every meal we say thank you, to show that we're grateful and show our gratitude towards it, and to show that our appreciation, and that she feels good about like putting effort into it and that we appreciate it back. And also if you go to a new city and you don't know the direction, and you ask someone on the street, and they not only like guide you, like tell you the route of and describe it to you of where to go, but they actually lead you there and take you there as well, then that can also help you like appreciate the kindness in strangers as well. So yeah, basically happiness is like more than just pleasure, and it's about whole being. So for example, if you're playing video games, maybe you feel really excited and like happy in the moment, but I don't think that's real happiness, because there's like a deeper level to it. And yeah, once you are able to see all of the things together, like all of the different lights together, like in sunlight, then that's like really happiness. And like there's not really any point between like happiness and like unhappiness. There's no point when the like unhappiness suddenly changes into happiness. Instead it's more like a continuum, and like the things start to blend together. And happiness is more like a lifelong journey, and allows you to set realistic expectations about what is possible and not. And finally, like things happen not necessarily for the best, but be able to make the best of the things that happen. For example, like if someone wanted to become a doctor and they worked really hard to, but like I don't know, only like a small percentage of people end up actually becoming doctors, and he just ends up with a job in an office, like then like, and he's still able to like actually like make the most of his life and not be like too dragged down by the fact that he wasn't able to become a doctor, and make the best of like his job currently, and still able to have like a fulfilling life. And also another example like from real life is like Malala. When she was like really young, she was shot in the head by like the Taliban, and she like that thing, she didn't choose to be shot in the head, but she managed to make the most of what happened, and she didn't like give up, and she managed to like relearn how to like write and a lot of other things, and she ended up like speaking publicly about the problems of like girls not being able to have an education. And yeah, she really influenced a lot of the decisions that were made like in like governments as well. And she's like a really good example of being anti-fragile, because after like all of the stress and pressures put on her, like after being shot, she didn't just go back to how she was like before, but she actually managed to bounce up like higher than she was, and it made her stronger. That experience like made her stronger than who she was previously, and she learned a lot from that too. So yeah, in conclusion, like finally, I still don't know how many more times my dad is going to make me watch the movie Pursuit of Happiness, but I think I already have like a good idea on how to become anti-fragile. And yeah, I hope you can have the same idea in your hardships, like when you face hardships as well, and like basically have a positive attitude when facing them and make the most out of your life. And I hope you learned something from today. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.